Welcome, everyone. It is Thursday's MUTV group chat. Less than a week now to go until the Premier League returns, so a lot to look forward to. Getting on for what? Almost 100 days without seeing United play. The lads are here. David May, Ben Thornley, Danny Webber, Wes Brown. Boys, you okay?
Very well.
Yeah.
Good. What happened yesterday, Stu?
Well, did you miss me? Did you miss me? Let's be honest first. Did you miss me?
No.
Okay, you've been honest.
If I'm being truthfully honest, it was probably one of the best shows we've ever had.
There you go. Then I thought that'd be the case, mate. I at least had a proper excuse.
Where was you?
I had to go to Norfolk.
That's not an excuse.
We had to collect our son's stuff from university. Because anyway, a long story short, a long trip. Not like being on the golf course, like your excuse for missing a show.
It has to be forfeit.
Now, what? Oh, that's a reasonable excuse.
No, it's not.
It's perfectly decent. It's not playing golf. Oh,
just because the government can do that, don't mean you can.
Yeah, I went to Barnard Castle. That's what I was doing. By the way, and Ben, what's happened to the weather? This is in the bedroom today, not in the sunshine, and no.
Rubbish. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, rubbish.
When are we good again, Ben?
Weekend, mate, and then into next week, sorted.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Get this crap out the way, and then we're back on sunshine.
Thanks for that. That weather forecast was great. Thanks very much for that. Yeah.
You kept me going with the weather, mate. I swear to God. Without you, gaps are rubbish. You're on point always.
You know Lucy Verasamy, though. That's the thing.
Decent.
Very true, Maisie. Very true.
It certainly is.
Very good.
How are we feeling, boys, about the football anyway? Come on, less than a week now. Next Wednesday it all starts. We've been doing this show for so long, 10, 11 weeks, and now football is going to start in this country. Are we finally? I mean, Maisie, come on, you've been against it for a long time, but you're up for it now. Up for it now?
As it's getting closer, Stu, you know, the days have gone on and the weeks have gone on, the months have gone on. So yeah, it'd be good just to get rid of the gym and football because I just can't grasp that. So nice for the Premier League to come back. Spain comes back as well this weekend, doesn't it? So
I think it's tonight.
Is it tonight?
I think it might be tonight. Ben, you're up for this, aren't you? You've been climbing the walls. You've been ready for United,
yeah, absolutely, definitely. I can't wait. I think that obviously there was another round of testing yesterday, and I think that it's been really positive in terms of the fact that we've had so few with all the thousands of tests that have been done. So things have been going well on that front, and let's just hope that after the first round of games, there are no repercussions. That's the most important thing. But yeah, I think everybody is now. It's got this close. Is really looking forward to some football in this country.
Yeah, Webbs, you're up for that. You're up for it, aren't you?
I can't wait, to be honest. It's it's a great one to start with as well. Spurs.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, obviously, before we went into lockdown, they had no Harry Kane. They were quite depleted. We had no
Son. Didn't have Son.
No Son. And obviously, we had no Rashford, no Pogba. So, you'd like to think now it's going to be a big clash because everybody's back and not having played football for such a while. And some of these lads have not had a break like this in ages because every summer they go away internationals, they're back training. They only have a couple of weeks off. So it'll be good. It'll be good to see lads playing, and it's that feeling sometimes of when you've had a little break and all the little niggles that you had from the last season disappear, you come back and you feel brand new. So even though the fitness levels won't be at the maximum yet, the bodies will feel good and they'll hopefully go out and express themselves.
Well, I think, boys, before the Tottenham game, at some point, probably next week, I'm going to get you to give us what your starting 11 would be for Manchester United. The ideal starting 11 for United at Tottenham would be. Bear in mind, everyone's fit. What would you go for? So have a think about that. We'll definitely come up with that next week. Because that is the thing, though, isn't it? The manager's got a lovely problem, isn't he, now? He's got literally a full squad to choose from, which he probably has never had.
Yeah, he has. And I think both teams are going to come out flying, Stu. I don't think there's going to be any breaking in 10, 20 minutes. I think both teams are wanting to show what they've got straight away. And like you've just said, Ollie now with the full squad, very exciting times. People fighting for places. They're going to be showing what they can do. So, it's getting a bit tingly now, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fantastic when it starts next week. Just before we bring on our guest, a couple of comments from YouTube from yesterday's show with Rowetta. This one from Kush, great guest. She's a real United fan. And another one here, Rowetta having stitches, roasting everything and everybody. Would love to hear a demo of what she's working on. P.S. Stuart, you must get a Wes mohawk. If only that was possible. If only I had that ability, but not possible. That's been the highlight of lockdown, Wes's mohawk. It was outstanding. I wish I could.
A while back now, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, I know. We've been doing it a while, though, haven't we? We have been doing it a while. So we've got two guests today. We've got Manchester United legend Sammy McIlroy and also one of Fergie fledglings from the late 80s, early 90s, Russell Beardsmore. Guys, great to see you both. Russ, let's start with you. How you doing, mate? How have you been
morning,
coping?
Stuart. Yeah.
How have you been coping the last few months?
Not too bad. Up and down, really. Some good days and then days where it's hard to get motivated. But yeah, thankfully came in on Monday, did some stuff with the foundation, with Adidas, to do some sessions for schools with social distancing. So at Old Trafford. So that was good to get back in and do some coaching after 13 weeks, I think.
So people who don't know, that's what you're involved with these days. And how difficult is it in these current circumstances to do that? Because social distancing is everything at the moment, isn't
it? Yeah, it's very difficult because obviously we probably only go back to work properly in September because I work at the college for the foundation. So, and obviously I'm going to plug the foundation because I work for them, and they're doing a fantastic job in this situation, working with adults and kids and teenagers in very vulnerable situations and in our region. So hats off to them. They're doing a remarkable job, the foundation.
Yeah, no, we've had John Shields on this programme, and they have done an unbelievable job over the last 3 months or so. Let's bring Sammy in as well, have a chat to him. Sammy, how have you been getting on with everything?
Hi, Stuart. Nice to speak to you. I've been struggling, mate. I've been bored without football. I'm training like most days. I'm actually been painting stuff in the house. So bored. I've actually got myself a little white van with Sam the handyman. Anyone needs a painting job, I'm your man. But I'm so glad that it's coming back. I really am. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's something that we've discussed before. The fact that it is coming back. I mean, I suppose you don't quite realise what it means to you when you don't have it for 3 months. So are you looking forward to seeing United again?
I am actually, yeah. I'm quite excited to see what team he's going to pick. I know he's got what you call problems, but they're good problems to have. And I keep on thinking myself about the midfield situation. There's a lot of speculation about Pogba. But me personally, I don't know if the lads agree, I would love to see Pogba, McTominay and Fernandes as a three. Even though Fred has done great, Pereira's done okay, but them three together really excite me.
Open up to the lads, away you go.
I'd agree with that, Sammy. I think that would be probably my idea as well. You've got a bit of everything. You've got the McTominay, who's been a revelation since he's come in this, been probably, he's been exceptional since he's come in this season. And then obviously Pogba, Fernandes give you that bit of being able to unlock any defence, with the runners going off them and so on. But also they've got the grit, they've got the power, they've got the size, they've got absolutely everything between the three of them, you like to think, on paper anyway.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, Danny. There's a presence about the three of them. And I think with McTominay there, it gives the other two a license to get into the opponent's half and create and score goals. It really does. I hope he does sort of start with that, but it's a big decision he's got to make because Fred has done nothing wrong the last few months, before the lockdown. Fred's
been our most improved player, Sammy.
100%, Ben.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's such a difficult decision to make for the manager, but for me, you got to pay your best players.
But guys, where do you play Pogba and Fernandes? Because does Pogba play up towards the sort of number 10 role, or does he have to play further back? And obviously, also the player you haven't mentioned all that was Matic, who was excellent before lockdown as well. So it's difficult to fit. What's the best midfield fit, Wes?
I mean, I would probably play Pogba a little bit further. But I think in saying that, him and Bruno could probably do that same position. So, it wouldn't be Pogba there all the time. But I just think Bruno likes getting the ball. He likes receiving it and then making things happen. Whereas in Pogba, you can maybe give a little bit more free license And like we've said, he's not played for a while, so the defensive side, you know, you can sort of give him a little leeway with it, just to start with, not a lot, but you know, let him get back generally, and rather than doing the sort of heavy graft that the midfielders do. So I probably would play him a little bit higher.
Yeah, would you do that, Maisie?
Yeah, probably have Scott sitting, Bruno, and so it'd be like, what would it be, 4-1, 4-1 or something like that, maybe. The good thing is, and Sammy's hit the nail on the head, you've got all the best players back, and it's you know, fitting them all in. But I think because there's that many games in such a short period, you know, games are coming thick and fast. So, you know, I'm going to have to rotate anyway because, you know, to go full tilt straight away, it'll put the lads under a little bit of pressure. And the last thing you want is any injuries. So he'll rotate. But as Danny said, it's going to be an absolute belting game as well. Really will.
Yeah, if everyone, I mean, the thing is, Ben, do you start with, say, Pogba and Rashford, even though they haven't played for so long? Same with Tottenham. Do they start with Kane and Son, even though they haven't played for so long? Do they go straight in?
It's a difficult decision. I think certainly for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I think it's a bit of a no-brainer for Jose Mourinho, to be honest, because they are, you know, his two best players who have been performing for, you know, for all the times that they've been there. Paul Pogba has obviously spent a vast majority of this season out of the side, but we all know, as the lads have alluded to, what a fantastic presence, what a fantastic player, and no doubt he would improve Manchester United. I would probably be reluctant to start with him, purely and simply because of how well the lads were performing before the stoppage came about. But the flip side to it is that we're playing a very, very good side. He is, without question, the best long-distance passer that I've seen with both feet. And with the pace that we've got up front, would he be a real useful asset to try and, you know, play the ball over the top for the likes of Rashford? It all depends on how Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to line up. But I think that is a bigger decision for him than it is for Jose Mourinho with Son and Harry Kane.
Yeah, decisions for the managers to make over the next week or so. Russell, I want to bring you in, mate. I just want to, I mean, when you look back now at your United career, like the late 80s, early 90s, when you were coming through, quite a difficult time actually for United under Sir Alex. But when you look back now, what's the one thing that stands out for you? Do you look back with a smile?
I look back thinking of Sir Alex absolutely screaming at me on the sidelines, be on it. Come over to me and using the rubber ear, not telling you I haven't heard him. But no, obviously making your debut is massive, and scoring against Liverpool sort of got my name in the highlights for a while. And, you know, I went on to play 50, 60 games, which was great. I obviously wanted to stay longer and play longer. But obviously, you're right, when I first got into the team, it was a difficult time, and there was banners Fergie out at Old Trafford, crowds of, I think, Wimbledon at home, 28,000. And obviously the club stuck with the gaffer, and obviously the rest's history. So it was nice to be the part of it, but it'd been nice to be stayed as long as you can, really, at a great club. How
was the gaffer with you? Because he must have been under a bit of pressure.
He was so nervous. Match day, you couldn't look at him it was the old grill room for the pre-match meal before the game, and he was so tense and nervous you couldn't actually look at him in the face because it'd make you nervous as a young player. But obviously you speak to other guys like Scholes in them, and the boys will tell you when he started to win things, I think he slightly mellowed later on. So, but yeah, originally it was outgoing, and it must have been the pressure on him not to leave must have been great.
Ben, I know you. I want you to tell us about Russell. It's important that you give us.
Please
something.
don't, mate.
Come on.
Please don't.
Come on.
Hey, do you know what? Before we get into what he was like as a player, he is one of the genuinely the nicest lads you would ever wish to meet. I don't think there's a malicious bone in Russell's body, and he's great company. Obviously, he's a little bit older than me, so I didn't really get a chance to play with him that often. A little bit in the reserves, but more so since we finished playing. You know, me and him organise ex-players games around the country. We've both been to Asia, and a little interesting story there. One night in Thailand in a hotel, I heard all this sort of commotion going on the corridor, And I saw my room wasn't too far away from the lifts, and I'm walking around the corner wondering what the hell's going on. And Beardo is standing in front of the lift, stark naked. And I'm wondering what on earth is going on here. And he turned around and he looked at me and he said, I'm just trying to get into my room. And I thought, I've never seen a room where you press a button and the doors go like that. And he's standing there. But absolutely a brilliant character, great fun. I haven't come across anybody that has ever had a bad word to say about Russell, and he's doing brilliant work at the college as well, and for the foundation, and he's an asset to Manchester United. And I work with him on match days, and he is just generally a brilliant lad.
Ben, I'm not sure if you were there that year, but when we went over to Macau.
Oh no, I didn't go to Macau, no.
And Beardo, for some reason, he looks a tiny little bit like Bez out of the Happy Mondays. But if you can imagine that outside the hotel, it was probably about 100 degrees, 95% humidity. And Beardo's walking around the whole week with a long leather jacket on. Remember it, Beardo?
I do remember it, yeah, Macau, I do. Yeah.
Remember that girl pouring a pint over your head?
I don't remember that. I thought his name or her name was Bob. That's what she told me. Oh, anyway, that's for another day. Oh dear. Oh, don't. Oh,
Stuart, what a great lad Beardo is. He's brilliant company, as Ben said, yeah. And what he's doing now for the foundation, everybody can applaud him. He's a top lad. He really is.
Yeah. It must have been weird for you. Was it good for you? It must have been weird for you to be away for. Obviously, you're in Bournemouth. I don't know if people know, but you were in Bournemouth for quite a while, and you came back. Was it strange? Because you're from up here. Yeah. You're from the northwest. Is it strange?
It was originally. First couple of years, I didn't want to stay down south, and then obviously, all of a sudden, you end up staying like 19 years, and then you lose touch with everybody, what everybody's doing, and then hospitality came along. Viv Anderson sort of put me in touch with the club. And I thought, oh, no, they won't want me to do anything. And all of a sudden I got a call, and I started to travel forward and back, though, for the first 5 years. So I think I missed one game and did about 40,000 miles. So the midweek games, I was getting back at 4 a.m, then just basically staying at a hotel, putting my Bournemouth training gear on and going straight to work full time. It just got ridiculous after 5 years of that. And then obviously decided to make the move back to the north.
Let's bring Sam in as well. Sam, it's very rare we can have somebody on this program. We used to started off by training with Best Law and Charlton. What was that like?
Unbelievable, Stuart. When I first came over, I was such an awe, especially with Bestie, who I live very close to in East Belfast, and he helped me quite a bit. He could tell I was a little bit homesick and stuff like that, but you get through it. But to watch Best Law Charlton in training was unbelievable for me, especially a young boy, 14 years of age, leaving Belfast to Manchester. Totally a weird experience. It was really tough for the first year for me to settle down. But as I say, the club in those days where Samet, the manager, really looked after the kids, and they sent me home once every 3 weeks, whatever, to get over the homesickness. But don't forget as well, Stuart, I joined the year after they just won the European Cup, 69. And the club was absolutely buzzing at the time. The atmosphere was fantastic.
How good when we see George in either documentaries or TV shows or whatever. But what was he actually? How good was he? How good was he actually there? How good was he?
Well, I mean, obviously I'm a little bit biased, but he was the best I've ever seen. In training, he loved training. First out, last in, on pitches which were, well, bogs. They weren't what they are now, and he could beat people. He could do everything, Stuart. Create, shoot, left foot, right foot, head a ball, tackle, everything he could do. Complete footballer for me. But also as well, it was his desire to play against people. For instance, Tommy Smith, Norman Hunter, Ron Harris, Big John McGrath, Southampton, total animals. And I mean, when they kicked you, they kicked you. You see these days, you get a little touch and people are rolling, doing somersaults. When they kicked you, I tell you what, you didn't get up. But Bestie was like a rubber ball. He'd get kicked, he'd be bouncing up and going back for more. And just to watch him do that. And he did the same in training. I mean, in them days, it was like, the training was fierce, and tackles were flying in, and that's the way it was. The competition was fantastic, but he is definitely the best I've ever seen, Stuart.
How was Paddy?
Paddy was an absolute. Paddy was a fantastic footballer. Seriously, Paddy had a step ahead of people with the ball. He was a great passer. Never, ever, ever, very rarely did he give a simple ball. Believe it or not, he always sort of wanted to make a pass, a telling pass, and best he was on the end of a few of them over his career. But when in my day, they used to say when Paddy played well, United played well, and that that's how good he was. Also, he liked to fight off the pitch as well. I've seen him smack a few in the tunnel, but that was Paddy. That was Paddy.
Yeah. What was he like when he went into managing and coaching of it? I can't imagine. I can imagine it being mayhem. But
I had a little bit of him early when I was about 16, 15. Sorry, he was youth team manager at first, Paddy, and he was unbelievable. And we used to go to Davy Hume Golf Club for a pre-match meal. We were playing Everton in the quarter-final at Old Trafford, and we went to Davy Hume for a pre-match meal. And Paddy had a terrible habit of going round the lads' table. You could be having like egg and toast, cup of tea. There'd be some toast on the table. Paddy would come over your shoulder, nick a bit of toast and dip it in your egg. How you doing? I hope you're going to play well tonight, Sam. You know what to do. And you'd be dipping the toast in your egg and eating it. And he went round about 3 or 4 tables doing the same thing. But when he talked football, Paddy, you knew exactly he knew the game. The lads were just in all listening to him, how he wanted the game to be played. And I know he went into Northampton for a short period of time and it didn't really happen. He came back then to work with Tommy Docherty as assistant. That was fireworks as well, by the way, but I won't go into that.
oh, go on.
But he was a character, no doubt about that.
Yeah. You open this up to the lads as well. See if you want to ask a question for any of these reprobates.
Sammy, you've obviously gone into a little bit of management as well for both club and country. Which did you prefer and why? And what were the differences?
Well, first of all, then I went in early management in the 90s. The first club was in the conference, but used to call it Mendes Northwich. I thought working at a situation like that, with me being like full time for years, always full time, I went into a setup where it was part time, and I learned an awful lot then about trying to manage people at that stage, because they had jobs, don't forget, and I only seen them 2 days a week, Tuesday and Thursday, if I was lucky, because some of them had jobs that they couldn't come in on a Thursday, which thumbed my head in, because that was the sort of night I tried to get everything sorted, pick my team, do a little bit of shape and stuff like that. So I learned a lot then in non-league of sort of coming to terms with man management, and luckily we did okay, especially when I left to go to Macclesfield, and we had some great success there, going up, winning the conference twice, and then going 2 promotions to League One, which is unbelievable for Mac. Getting onto the international stage, the thing that I found hard was missing the day-to-day involvement with players. When you're an international manager, you only see your players, if you're lucky, 3 or 4 months, once every 3 or 4 months. And I found that very difficult. And Northern Ireland at the time when I took over was going through a phase where the big players were beginning to come to the end, and I had to stick a load of people in who weren't good enough, but that's what I had to do. But the experience of managing your country, Ben, was unbelievable. Yeah, I could never have turned that down.
Yeah.
Is there anybody, Sammy, that, like, player-wise, that you managed that you thought should have gone on to more, had all the ability, but just didn't make it to the top?
There's a few, Danny. There's one player who has had a career, and you all know him, and he did fantastic for me, but at times I wanted to kill him, and that was Keith Gillespie.
Yeah. I was waiting for that.
That was Keith. Keith did fantastic for me, but I had to sort of man mark him at times after games. I had to say to him, listen, Keith, I know you're going to have a drink, I know you're going to have a bet, but listen, training's at 10 o'clock, make sure you're there and don't let me down. And we had a sort of a rapport where he very, very rarely let me down, but he when he was at United, and Ben, especially Russell, I'm not sure Maisie might have been around it, I'm not too sure, but he was unbelievable. If somebody had got a hold of Keith and just worked on him a little bit and said he was the greatest I've ever seen, I'm sure he could have had a long career at Manchester United. I know he was involved in the Andy Cole transfer situation, but Keith, for me, could have been a sensation at United if he had been looked after. But I suppose at the end of the day, Keith's got to take a little bit of responsibility himself. You know, he liked living and still does, you know, as we know in the old boys. He's a great though, and I got on very, very well with him, and he was one of my best players.
If you could relive one game, playing one game throughout your career, what would it be?
Good question, Major. There's a couple that sort of stick out for me. Obviously, my debut in 71-72 against Man City. 3-3 game, fantastic game. And then the other one, when Big Ron signed Robbo on the game at Old Trafford with a gold pen. Robbo came for 1 point whatever million, and the speculation was me or Ray Wilkins that was going to leave the club. And I got a hat trick that day against Wolves, and you know, put Big Ron in a bit of position, you know. But those are two games that sort of stick out in my mind. It was my first hat trick for the club, and on a day when Robbo, as I said, signed, and Robbo was a fantastic player. There was never ever going to be any competition between me and Brian Robson because totally different players. But it was sort of a coincidence that I scored 3 the day he signed, and Big Ron was sick as a parrot.
Well, unbelievably, time has just beaten us. This seems to have absolutely raced by today. But
that was
so
Sammy.
much.
That was all those questions to Sammy.
Yeah, it was Sammy. Yeah,
thanks, Sammy.
Yeah, thanks. Cheers, Sam. Appreciate that.
Sorry, boys. Sorry, boys.
Sorry about it. Yeah. Thanks so much it's great to see you, Sammy. Thank you for coming on, mate. And Russell.
Thanks, Cheers.
Great
Brilliant.
sport. Thanks for coming on, mate. Really do
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Hey, fellas.
Cheers, guys. Thanks a lot.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks from Maisie as well for what you put in the WhatsApp group. We appreciate that. Right. One more show. Yes. We've got one more show to go this week. I'm delighted that Darren Fletcher is going to be on the show on Friday. Hope you can join us for that. Take care, and we'll see you then. See you guys.
See you later.